And we have one more performer tonight, Tracee Thomas. Woo!
Hey, everybody. So I'm Tracee. I'm newly married and newly diagnosed with ADHD. They happened around the same time, so I secretly blame my husband for giving it to me. Like ADHD is some STD that you can catch. People get ADHD all wrong. They say it's a deficit of attention, but actually, we just pay a lot of attention, but only to the random things that we really want to pay attention to. So my husband will walk in the room all excited to talk to me, and I'm all like, shh, can't you see I'm counting breadcrumbs? Seriously, like balancing the two have been really challenging. So ADHD is essentially like being allergic to boredom, and marriage is like a legally binding contract to do boring shit with the same awesome person until death do you part. But luckily for me, I'm married to like an amazing guy, great guy, which I feel is almost a bullshit thing to have to say. Like the assumption for men is like they're so generally shitty that you have to preface husband with good. When I meet new people that are single, and I'm like, yeah, I just got married, and they're all like, I'm so sorry for your loss. I understand why though. Like with all the horror stories we hear about marriage and the divorce rate, it seems like a strange ass thing to like willingly do in the year of our Lord 2020. Like especially when there's pretty much an app for everything you would need a husband to do. You got TaskRabbit, you got Uber Eats, you got Pornhub, like, and with an app, you have to figure out how to not sound like you're nagging after reminding someone to do the same thing for the eighth time. But apparently, I like to live on the edge. So I bit the bullet. And most of the time, I'm glad I did because my husband is truly phenomenal, like truly the sweetest, most loving man I've ever met. So I'm clear this has nothing to do with him and everything to do with marriage itself. So we've been married for 2 years now. And I love him to pieces, but this marriage thing is like, half the time I'm like, yay, someone to grow old and fat and with, and I never have to swipe left again. And the rest of the time I'm like, why the fuck would I willingly invite a stranger in my house that never leaves? Seriously, like that's what marriage is. You move in with a stranger, and then you have to get group consensus on the most basic and mundane shit. Honey, what should we eat for dinner? Honey, what color curtains do you think we should get? And my personal favorite, honey, should we have sex tonight? All things I am perfectly capable of figuring out on my own. My husband and I moved in together after dating for like 6 months. My best friend from college, I've known her for almost 20 years, been to her house 3 times, and we're perfectly happy. I'm not sure who decided marriage needed to be any different. I'm starting to think marriage is like one of those pills that pharmaceutical companies create for made up diseases. Do you desire lifelong companionship defined by a really expensive party and a slight annual discount on your taxes? Do you wish to procreate and bring annoying offspring into a world that's already a dumpster fire? Do you find yourself wanting to clean up after another grown ass adult and have date nights at chain restaurants and schedule sex for the rest of your life? If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, ask your doctor if matrimony may be for you. Side effects may include boredom, exhaustion, and attempted homicide. People talk about, how you have to keep the excitement alive and keep things fresh, but it just seems like so much work. Like maybe it's the ADHD or just shared narcissism, but I think it's so weird that you have to pay so much attention to someone who isn't, that I have to pay so much attention to someone who isn't me. Sometimes I secretly wish I could have like a sister wife or at least a mistress so my husband would have someone else to pay attention to him, because he deserves it. I used to dream about this until one day I caught my husband with another woman in our house. So I walk into the house and I hear this smooth jazz playing and my husband yelling, yes, yes, now slow down. And I'm storming through my house livid. And then he goes, say my name. Now, you all don't know me, but my husband's name is Vasco. not the top of the pick for porn stars. So I freeze in my tracks because I really want to hear if whoever this bitch is actually going to yell out Vasco during sex, because I sure as hell can't do it without busting out laughing. So I burst in the room and my husband is sitting on the side of the bed, huge smile on his face, looking down between his legs at a speaker. A fucking speaker. My husband is so nice, I thought he was bringing home a mistress, and he brings home Alexa. For a long time, I refused to have one of those things in my house because every Black person knows that this is precisely how every movie where the robots take over and kill everyone begins. But I let my husband keep her because he told me she could do anything. But apparently, it's inappropriate to ask Alexa to give your husband a blowjob because you don't want to do it. So I guess I'm back in the market for a mistress if any one of you are interested.
Woohoo!
Hey!
Good job, everyone.
First time comedians, nice job and excellent.